I think he just fit in. He was one of those guys that's just, a pillar in the community, I guess you'd say. Kind of a go-to guy.
That go-to guy was Samuel Shaffer.
He had come into the West in McCook, Nebraska, and he had a implement store and mercantile business there in McCook.
To Ray and Dean Shaffer, Sam was great-granddad. He brought his wife and 11 children to Jefferson County in 1902 to start a ranch at a crossroads along Elk Creek.
They built 3 buildings when they moved here in 1902. One was they called it the Community Hall Dance Hall. The other was this large barn, and the other was the store. He'd always really enjoyed the store keeping, and he really liked people.
It didn't take long before Shaffer's friendly demeanor made a name for him and the town.
It had been named several different things through the years, I guess. He just put out a sign and the name stuck.
Today, the crossroads still carries Shaffer's name, but there's very little left of the ranch. The store is long gone, leaving only the barn and the community hall known as the Octagon to tell Shaffer's story.
My grandfather called it a dance hall and a community center.
So the Shaffer accounts talk about the wild dances they had in there. Well, I've been in there and you couldn't have kicked too wide or jumped too high. It's not that big in there. I guess you could have danced around the pole quite a bit.
Samuel Shaffer died in 1915, and the ranch sold to new owners. The little oddly shaped building carried on the family legacy of bringing together the community.
They would have family dinners, they would have social events. It was a Grange building there until probably the early 40s.
Donna Beck's family has lived in this area for nearly 150 years.
I'm very connected to the history of the area, and to preserve these buildings is of utmost importance to me.
The 2 buildings captured the imagination of new residents as well. Bonnie Scudder and her husband moved here just 24 years ago.
It was always just a very curious building out there in the middle of nowhere. It is made of logs, but on the outside, the white that you can see on it is actually painted tin.
Inside the Octagon, clues to its former glory hang faded from the ceiling.
There's beaver board, sort of pie-shaped beaver board, and somebody has hand-painted beautiful little scenes. The part that you see jutting out in the back on the south side is a stage, and it's elevated a little bit. It served as a church when the Methodist church that was part of this community burned down.
Time and decades of non-use have taken their toll on the structures.
It's just deteriorating very rapidly at this point from the weather.
Plans for new construction have brought a renewed interest in the future of these buildings. The Archdiocese of Denver recently purchased the property and plans to build a retreat center in the valley.
Their main focus right now is building their retreat center and getting all the permissions that they need to proceed with their construction.
The historic buildings aren't in danger of demolition, but the Archdiocese has no plans to use them or restore them either.
They thought that they could probably use the barn as a storage area, so they could make use of that. They weren't really sure what to do with the Octagon house.
Those close to the buildings would like to work with the Archdiocese to at least stabilize the structures.
It's a building that I think a lot of people had a lot of happiness and a lot of very wonderful memories.
They view the proposed development as an opportunity to teach visitors to the area about the local history.
As the Archdiocese develops their retreat center, that will bring more people to the area.
The more the buildings we can preserve, the more it shows the importance of the area to those people who just travel through.
It gives context to where we stand in history.
Ray Shaffer sees the buildings as a reminder of what community is all about.
Today everything's handed to us, and that wasn't the way it was. You built your community in those old days. When we look back, we really appreciate coming to this area and seeing, well, there was roots here. I think that's important while we save it. This is our roots.